Imagine waking up knowing that by sunset, you'll be thrown into a pit filled with hungry lions. Not because you committed a crime, not because you betrayed your king, but because you prayed. The kingdom's most powerful officials have spent weeks plotting your execution. The king wants to save you. The law says he can't. And tonight, every roar echoing from that stone pit is waiting for you. You wake before sunrise. The air is cool. The palace is still quiet. Outside your window, the city is just beginning to stir. Merchants are setting up their stalls. Soldiers are changing shifts. Servants hurry through the courtyards carrying water and bread. It looks like any other morning, but it won't stay that way for long. You've lived through kingdoms rising and falling. You've watched kings come and go. You've survived wars, exile, political coups, and more palace conspiracies than you can count. Most people your age would have retired years ago, not you. Even now, you're one of the most respected officials in the entire empire. The king trusts you with almost everything. That makes you admired. It also makes you hated. Every promotion you've earned has created another enemy. Every success has made someone else jealous. And today, those enemies are finally ready to strike. They've searched your entire career for dirt, bribery, nothing. Corruption, nothing. Scandal, nothing. You never stole, never lied, never abused your power. Ironically, being honest is exactly what's going to get you killed. The officials gather before dawn, not to govern, not to discuss taxes, not to prepare for war. They're preparing a trap, and they've chosen the perfect bait, your faith. One by one, they approach the king. They're smiling, praising him, calling him wise, calling him great. It's flattery, the kind every ruler secretly enjoys. Then comes the proposal. For the next 30 days, no one in the entire kingdom may pray to any god or any person except the king himself. Anyone who breaks that law will be thrown into a den of lions. The punishment sounds outrageous, but that's exactly why it works. It appeals to pride. It makes the king feel almost divine. Surrounded by cheering officials, he barely hesitates. He signs the decree. One stroke of ink, that's all it takes. The law is now irreversible. Even the king can't change it. Across the empire, messengers race on horseback. Trumpets echo through crowded streets. The announcement spreads faster than wildfire. Markets fall silent. Families whisper behind closed doors. Temples empty. People stop praying in public. Some decide it's only 30 days. Others are too terrified to risk it. Fear becomes the empire's newest religion. Then the news reaches you. A servant places the decree into your hands. You read every word, slowly, carefully. You know exactly why this law exists. It was never about honoring the king. It was about eliminating you. The trap is perfect. If you stop praying, your enemies win. You keep praying, you're dead. For a long moment, the room is completely silent. You could avoid all of this. Just pray privately. Close the windows. Wait 30 days. Nobody would blame you. Nobody would even know. But you've spent your entire life trusting God in public. Why hide now? So you do what you've always done. You climb the stairs, walk into your upper room, and open the windows facing Jerusalem, wide open. Not to make a statement, not to provoke anyone, simply because that's what you've always done. Then you kneel. Outside, hidden in nearby buildings, your enemies are already watching. They don't have to wait long. There you are, exactly where they expected, kneeling, praying, giving thanks. You don't even try to escape. The officials grin. Weeks of planning, finally paying off. They rush back through the palace gates. Their footsteps echo down the marble halls. They burst into the king's court. "Your Majesty," they begin with fake humility. "Didn't you sign a decree stating that anyone who prays to another god must be thrown into the lion's den?" The king nods. Of course he did. The law cannot be changed. Then comes the knife. Daniel, they say, has ignored your command, continues to pray 3 times every day. The room falls silent. The king's expression changes instantly. He finally understands. This law was never meant to honor him. It was designed to trap the one man he trusted most, and he walked straight into it. Regret hits immediately. All day long, the king searches for a way out. He consults advisors, studies the law, questions officials, looks for loopholes, anything, but there aren't any. The very law that made him feel powerful has stolen his own power away. As the sun begins to sink below the horizon, time runs out. The sentence must be carried out. Palace guards arrive at your door. They don't need to force their way inside. You already know why they've come. You rise calmly to your feet. No resistance, no panic, no desperate pleas, just quiet confidence. Outside, a crowd has begun to gather. Some came because they hate you. Some because they're curious. Others simply want to witness the impossible. No one expects this walk to end with you alive. The guards escort you through the streets. Every step brings you closer to the edge of the empire's most feared execution site. Ahead, you hear it before you see it. A deep, thunderous roar. Then another. The lions are awake. The closer you get, the louder the roars become. They're not distant anymore. They're right beneath your feet. The execution site sits just outside the busiest part of the city, a massive pit carved into solid rock. The opening is sealed with a heavy stone. Below, darkness. And somewhere inside, dozens of eyes waiting for movement. The guards stop. The crowd falls silent. Even your enemies seem unusually quiet. It's one thing to plan someone's death, it's another to watch it happen. Then, the king arrives. He doesn't look like a victorious ruler. He looks like a defeated friend. His shoulders sag. His face is pale. For the first time all day, he speaks directly to you. His voice is barely above a whisper. May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you. It's not an order, it's a hope, because that's all he has left. The guards lead you to the edge. One final step, one final breath. Then, you're lowered into the darkness. The light above grows smaller. The walls grow colder. The smell hits first. Dust, damp stone, animal musk, bones scattered across the floor. You hear breathing, slow, heavy, closer than you'd like. A low growl rolls through the darkness. Then another. Shapes begin to move, massive, silent, muscles shifting beneath thick coats of fur, golden eyes reflecting the last rays of sunlight from above. The rope goes slack. You're standing alone. The guards pull the rope back. The stone slides into place. With a deafening grind, the last sliver of daylight disappears. Darkness. Complete darkness. No sword, no shield, no escape. Only lions. Above you, the king presses his own royal seal into the stone. His nobles add theirs. No one will open this pit until morning. If morning comes for you at all, the crowd slowly leaves. Your enemies celebrate. They've finally won, or so they think. Back at the palace, there is no celebration. The king refuses his evening meal. The musicians are dismissed. The entertainers are sent away. The palace grows unusually quiet. Sleep never comes. Every hour, his thoughts return to the same place. The answer changes an empire. Soon after, the king issues another decree, not demanding people worship him, not glorifying his own power. Instead, he commands the kingdom to respect the God of Daniel. The same ruler whose pride signed the fatal law now publicly acknowledges the God he once ignored. And just like that, the plot that was meant to erase your legacy becomes the reason people remember your name thousands of years later. History is filled with powerful kings. Most are forgotten. History is filled with ambitious politicians. Most disappeared without a trace. But the old man who refused to stop praying is still remembered. Not because he defeated an army, not because he built an empire, not because he chased power, but because when everything was on the line, he stayed faithful to what he believed. So, why did it suck to be Daniel? Because your honesty made you a target. Your success created enemies. Your faith became a crime. You were betrayed by powerful men, condemned by an unjust law, dropped into a pit where death seemed certain, and you spent an entire night surrounded by lions. But sometimes, the darkest den becomes the brightest testimony. Sometimes, the trap your enemies build becomes the stage where history remembers your courage. And sometimes, the story everyone expects to end in tragedy becomes one of the greatest stories of hope ever told.